All right, y'all, we're going to talk about the world of doing an, not like an offer necessarily, but partly an offer, but just what's the flow of everything. Now in the Hot Fire Agent Training YouTube page, there's should be a bunch of buyer 101, 201, sort of like starting from scratch. They're older, but you know, should do the trick. And this is gonna be a little shorter one. We'll be out here at 10:30, and we started late and had a lot of conversation before this, but this isn't necessarily rocket science. But I'm gonna take you, if you go to the zip forms, there's a spot where you can click the word forms at the top. So you just, logged in, and mine's gonna have to log in here. And then at the very top, there's dashboard, broker tools, forms, transactions. If you just click on forms, it's gonna take you just to the forms. And then when you do a search, it's like Google searching for forms. Make sure that you don't necessarily search for everything, because if you were to type in, in Google, how do I cross stitch an elephant on a really fun piece of paper, right? You're not gonna have great Google search results. That's not like a super helpful search. Right. But you might, if you want an amendment, you might type AME and then wait to see what pops up. And Google's gonna tell you what is most common in your area. It's using a lot of good, same here. When I'm gonna look for an extension for an inspection, so I'm gonna type EXT and see what pops up. That way I'm not, because if I were to type in the word, interestingly enough, that's a great one, EXTE for extension, it doesn't pop up anymore because they did EXT period. They abbreviated it. So if I start going to town on my search, it's gonna be useless. So just when you're hitting that search criteria in zip forms, when you're looking for a form, no matter where you're at, do something short. And so for me, like extension, I know that word, okay, EXT, okay, great, boom, there we are. But I'm gonna look for purchase agreement. So what do you think I type? PUR, and then wait and see what happens. So I've got PUR, and I'm gonna look down here and I see purchase agreement, improved property. Does everybody see that?
No, I can't get mine to do anything.
It's all right. Your zip forms is struggling for you?
I guess, I don't know. Like you would think it would, when I start typing, you would think it would.
Yeah, that's interesting.
EXT. Oh, maybe my internet hasn't done anything.
Maybe you're not connected to the internet?
Should.
Well, you should, because you were able to get onto Matrix and zip
Yeah.
forms anyway, so that's weird that you have no forms. All forms and nothing.
I'm doing it the right way though, right?
I think so. Let me look at it real quick. Let me do some poking.
Okay. Poke away.
All of you talk amongst yourselves. Let's see what we can find. I'm gonna go back. You got your John Doe. I mean, you've done forms because they're
Yeah, I did it
in the John Doe thing. So let's just go.
Oh, there, that finally.
That's that one, but I don't know why it's not showing you forms here.
This is my life, Eli.
That's it. That's what I'm finding out at the one I'm doing too.
This is
IAR
what happened.
residential. EXT. Alright. I wonder if this no category is hurting us.
Yeah, it is, right?
It probably is, yep. That no category that was in the word all. I just moved it to
That
all.
was messing up.
It was
Thank you.
Is it no category? So purchase agreement, improved property. Anybody know what the difference between improved and unimproved property is?
Improved is a single family home and other one is just like land.
Mm-hmm. So we have a building or other improvements on an improved property. Unimproved means it's just land.
Yeah.
Improved property can even include a parking lot. These real property value add situations. So we're looking for. It's not a huge deal which one you're going for. There are some different things, like for instance, crops that are planted by a farmer for a lease. He rents the land for $300 an acre, whatever it is. Well, unimproved property sales will include the concept of who keeps the crops. Because the owner of the land owes the farmer if the farmer's got crops in there.
Right.
Somehow, right? So that's a part of the unimproved contract by default here. If you use the improved one and it's got crops, you have to just be paying attention because you got a house on it. So you're going to use the improved one, but you're still got to deal with crops in there. But unimproved already has crops because it's so common to not just have bare land. Yeah. You're going to have a field or something that may be leased. But we're going to go to improved property. And we're not going to do anything with this specifically yet, but more or less I just want to talk you through a little bit of the entire process, which some of it's going to be written for you in the purchase agreement. We're going to start at the very beginning. Just
commercial also come in improved property, commercial or
commercial. There is a whole separate section. So yeah, if I go back here, you don't have to go back, but I'm going to save changes, no changes. So when I go to forms, right here in this top corner, you saw that it said Indiana Association of Realtors Residential. If I click down on that, you're going to see Broker Listing Cooperative and also Indiana Association of Realtors Commercial.
Oh.
3 separate sections for the documents you need. So I always stay in residential unless I need the other one, because if you have them all, like you can click all. That's a terrible idea, because now when you type in PUR for purchase agreement, you're gonna have to wade through commercial, commercial land, commercial industrial, residential improved.
So you do the top one?
I do the top one, IARRES, which is where the default is for our program anyway. And then I switch it. Sorry, my kids lost the remote to my TV. That's why I can't show you up there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have a new one coming. We were gone all night one night and came home to no remote. They have no idea. That was like a week ago. So we don't watch TV though, so that's part of the problem. It doesn't matter until it does. So purchase agreement, improved property. I'm pulling up my hot fire agent training. It's one word, hot fire. You don't have to pull this up. But this is where I'm going on YouTube because we've got new agent let's see, we've got buyer crash course. That's what I want. So there's a bunch on here that's going to be helpful. Buyer crash course is a little bit about who we are as Simplify Real Estate back in the day. Number 2 is the buying process in general. You know, you got how to use the video series. But there's like 9 videos in this series. And it's everything. Now we got custom searches and auto emails. So when you hear auto emails in Matrix, this is just me giving you a quick overview. Auto emails in Matrix is when you set up a search, you hit save at the bottom, and then you're going to get an option to like, or maybe it's not save, but what I think it is save. You can save the search or you can save it as an auto email. An auto email is then going to then send the houses as they change. Like say a price reduction,
to a person.
Send it right to the person.
Yeah.
And that's something that's part of your homework. I know you have it. I think you got it early on. But part of your homework to learn how to be an agent and to lower your stress is to practice this stuff before you have a client. Yeah. So send it to your husband. Create there's 5 different home types and searches that I have for you that are going to be really reflective of what you're going to be getting. And so you create the search, find the houses, set up the auto search, put in the contact, send it to their email, go look at your husband or your wife or your friend's email or your personal email and see what it looks like. What happens when they click? What happens when they can heart? What happens when they press the heart? Well, interestingly enough, if you press the heart, that's a heart, a light bulb, and a trash can. So you want to tell your client, well, so let's say they're like, oh, I'll take anything in Indianapolis. Well, here's 7,000 listings. Here you go. Well, they can then go through though and get rid of the obviously not ones, right? So if they've got 30 listings showing up in their search, they can click the heart on each one of them. Click the heart and pick, love it. Let's consider it. I don't really know what the light bulb's for. I use it as like kind of perked my interest, but I'm not in love with it yet. That's a maybe. And then I've got trash can, which is I don't want to see it again. And then it will never show up again for them.
Really?
Yeah. Now, if it is a brand new listing, it will. But like if they lower the price, they're not going to see it.
Huh.
I think. But that's how I
Yeah,
describe it. Like if you want to not see this again, hit the trash can. If you know you love, then you're looking at your dashboard on Matrix, and mine's in the bottom right corner. I don't know where yours is, but it'll say like recent use contacts. So I log into Matrix. Right here in Matrix, I see, oh look, Hard Dev had got into my email thing that I had sent him a week ago, and he looked at some houses, and look, he's hearted 2 of them. So then I can go, maybe it's been a year or 6 months since I've really communicated with him, which is terrible, but let's just say it was. Or maybe I sold him a house 2 years ago and I never turned it off. And so now I see a name pop up.
See him back in there.
I had it happen the other day. It happens a lot. And I go, and it just reminds me, and I go, hey, Bill, I saw you clicked on in one of those old email searches. If you're in the market for something, let me know how I can adjust what you're looking for. If you're not and just happen to click on it to see what it was, let me know and I'm happy to shut it off for you. All of a sudden, I just connected with my client again.
So is that like from Zillow or Realtor.com or just any of them? Right?
So Matrix, that's a good question. Just so everybody's understanding, Matrix is the hub for all of us. Every agent in Indianapolis. Now, some other places don't necessarily use Matrix, like if you're in way down south or in Muncie or something, right?
Yeah.
But Matrix is where we go. That is what pushes to Zillow, Realtor.com, the world. So we don't ever go to those. We don't need them. They're the B team in the sense of the right information.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they receive our information.
Okay.
They don't give us anything at all.
I think I did read that yesterday when I was going through stuff for my board, since I was in that.
Yep. They receive our information. So you're sending all your searches now. I'm going to recommend that for your clients, the best way to do this is to use if there is, and I haven't been in it yet, but if Fathom CRM has the ability to search for houses, set up searches for homes, use that, because then you're going to drive them back to your personal website. And they have, people have, if you share anything, you use your website to share, because then if you go on Facebook and you're like, you share one of my listings, let's say, well, it's good. They're going to go to the, Robin Roller at fathomrealty.com now, or whatever it is. And then they're going to put in their phone number and their information. And now you've got a lead. Okay. So if you send them to Matrix, they're still going to see you, but
they'll see other people too.
They won't. No, but it's just not as they don't have to give you their information. That's one thing. They don't have to put in their email. You won't know they ever went. Mm-hmm. Now, they might, but if you could just share it straight to Facebook, you won't know who all clicks on that. But if they click on your personal website, they can look at like 1 or 2 houses, and then they have to put their information in or they can't see anymore. So it's a nice way to gather some information.
What's on Facebook?
What's that?
What's on Facebook?
Personal, anything is fine. I use a page, and then from my business page, I share to personal if I want to. Yep. I always start on my page, but that's up to you guys how you want to do it. Everybody, people do it all different ways. Pages, and like for instance, your personal Facebook, they can't leave you reviews. So it's nice to have a page because they can leave you reviews. Oh, Hard Dev's amazing, the best agent there ever has been. 5 stars. Well, you can't do that from your personal page. It's only business page.
Now, when I was going through all the code of ethics and stuff, it said you have to make sure that you identify yourself as an agent and who you work for everywhere you're posting.
Yep.
So I've already got that information on Facebook. As like it stays there. So when I make a post,
don't worry about it.
I don't have to put it with that post, like end my post with my license number and simplify blah 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 all this
That's
stuff.
right.
I don't have to.
Nope.
It's already on there, right?
It's already on Facebook. It's clickable. If all you gotta do is click your name and look for a second, and they know you're a real estate agent. Okay. So then they go to your page. Yep.
Because I'm like, now that I read all this, I'm like, oh, I hate that I know all this. I like it, but I hate it.
Yep. You're like me then.
Time.
I like to follow the rules. I like to know what I'm breaking.
Yeah,
but
I want to know, but now I'm like a little on the paranoid side.
no reason to be paranoid. I can promise you, if
I
you
don't wanna
care
give you
at
citations.
if you care at any level, you're better than most. So you're gonna be fine.
I mean, seriously.
You'll notice on my iPhone, sometimes you'll get, if you ever on a text with me and a client, you're gonna see this whole Eli Skinner, Simplify, Fathom Realty, my phone number, my address, my Facebook page. This block that shows up, you're like, dang, he typed that fast. Well, I've got a special trick on my phone that you guys have too. If you have an iPhone,
yeah, I need to find out how to do that.
and I just hit SIG, and that automatically pre-populates all that. I hit one button and go, all of it flies on the screen.
I tried to do that with my email yesterday, and
I have my email set up as EMA. If I type in EMA, it puts my whole email address in for me automatically.
But does it put the full block in?
It will if you program it to do so. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I need help with that.
So business page should be totally separate from personal.
I think so. I do business page, and then I don't do much with personal Facebook,
Right.
but I might share to personal because I've got 5,000 people on there. But yeah, don't stress your too much. But I do identify myself when I'm talking to people, at least the first time on a text feed or something like. Hey, if I'm calling up for sale by owner, I make sure I identify myself. Talk to an agent, I identify myself by using that quick code on my phone. But anyway, all through this thing, you've got a bunch of stuff that's really helpful. I think you'll enjoy it. Sending offers for signatures, setting a showing appointment, which that's going to be new because we have Broker Bay now, but it gives you an idea still. Delivering the signed offer, writing an offer, sending a congratulations email. All of this is right there, and it tells you a little bit about what we do or what Andrea does behind the scenes. Just good information, even if it's old. But so we've kind of already talked a little bit about the process. So you get yourself Zillow training or however you get your lead in. Your friend calls you, your mom texts you, whatever it is. So you've got this person now, and and you've turned them into a buyer, or at least a potential buyer. You turn them into a potential client. They're okay with you, and they're willing to take some searches. So we're going to set up a search for them. If possible, do it on your personal website for Fathom, because it collects their data. When they show up, you can see it, and they're always being driven to you now. Okay, that's important to me. But it's also really, really easy to do it inside of Matrix. So that's where you're going to see most of this content on the computer about, is how to do it inside of Matrix, and that's called an auto email. I've got auto emails set up for myself. Hardev, if you're looking for some land, you can set up your search and send it to yourself. And so every time some land that fits your search criteria pops up, it's going to send you an email. Or if land that's already in your search drops in price, it's going to send it to you. Or maybe they change something else significant about the listing, it's going to send it to you and say, oh, price drop, whatever. And every time you click on this link that is pretty much yours forever for that specific search. So I've got a search for investment homes in Greenwood, Whiteland, Franklin. And I've also got a search for investment homes in Indianapolis that have been on the market for 30 days or more. And I've got a search for rentals that I could dive into pretty cheap that run down 65. I've got 2 or 3 personal searches going, and each one has their own links. So when I get that email, I click the link that's in the email every time it's there. You could bookmark it if you want, because it's not going to change. It is the client's email web address for their portal. So every time I click on the rental availability one, boom, it takes me and it shows me all the available rentals that I haven't trashed.
You set up on Matrix?
Matrix, it does that, yep. Yep, and it continues to send it out. If you set it up on your Fathom website, it'll do it from your Fathom website, which is better, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I actually I'm not deep into it right now because we're doing all that changeover stuff. But just good information. So you've got a search set up for your clients now. And in today's day and age, many of your clients are going to find their own houses. I call them self-searchers. They're going to be looking on Zillow and Realtor.com and everywhere to find their own houses and send them to you. It's nice when you can set up the search, because you're going to say, listen, you look anywhere you want. But we have specifically done your search. You gave me, you want no farther north than County Line, no farther south than Jefferson and Franklin, no farther west than 37, no farther east than 74. I literally drew a box.
Yeah.
So if you have something on Zillow that you don't see in my search, you're doing it wrong. You're outside of your own search criteria. There's only 3 bedrooms and you told me 4, right? It's fine. Just let me know and I'll adjust your search if your search has changed. Or if your search hasn't changed, just be aware that you've probably got something wrong in your search. And there's something with that house. Maybe I've got it that it only, you have to have a house that'll take FHA. You're just searching all the houses. I've got a criteria in there where it's FHA only. And so that's why you don't see that house, because, you know, it won't take FHA.
Yeah.
So you're potentially wasting a bunch of time scouring the internet, because I'm literally sending them to you the moment they hit. So anyway, it's just a good way to help your clients save some time and know that you're on top of it. And I don't talk about it being automated. I just talk about, I'm going to send you an email the moment something hits the market that matches your search criteria. And it's great. Now you can set it up to where you're going to get it first or also. So if I had HardDev set up on that land search, I can do a thing where it says carbon copy me. And so now I'm going to get an email whenever a house matches his search criteria, and I know that it went out to him. Okay. So all kinds of things you can do for that. If you see the words about reverse prospecting, that means that other agents can see that you have a client looking for a house that matches their listing criteria. So I put a house on the market that's 3 beds, 2 baths in Greenwood. I can hit a button, and most agents don't know how to do it, but I can hit a button and look in the back end of Matrix and see, oh look, HardDev, Robin, and Brad all have somebody looking for a 3-2 in Greenwood that matches this house. And so I don't know what their client's name is. I can find out their client. It's like a number, like 54627. And I can go, hey, Brad, client 54627's I just listed something that matches their search criteria. And I can reach out to Brad directly or you directly, because I can see that you've got somebody looking for that house.
Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
When they've already got an agent?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All I can see is the agent's information.
You can't reach out to
the person.
Client. They just reach out to you.
Oh,
yep.
The agent.
I'm literally going to reach out to you as an agent and go, hey, Robin, I've only got 3 agents with this search criteria, so you're in pretty good shape. You ought to come take a look at this house. Doesn't seem like a ton of people are looking for it.
Gotcha.
Boom, you come.
So it sounds like that. Whatever we search, the other agent know what we are doing.
That's right. It's the exact reverse. So now there's a checkbox. What I mentioned, there's a checkbox that says enable reverse prospecting. If you don't want to get those emails from other agents, uncheck that. Because if you've got 50 of these going, there's a chance you'll get some. It's not a big deal because most people don't do it, but you could for sure. But anyway, so you got a great search going for your client. It's sending them emails. They're finally saying, hey, I want to see this house. From there, we're going to Matrix. We're back in Matrix. And they're like, hey, I want to go see 123 Main Street. You're like, okay, great. You know, you might respond to them. You know, give me your widest availability time blocks today and tomorrow so I can try to get something in here because it's so busy. You may tell me, can we go around 4 tomorrow? That's not a very good time block because now I'm gonna have to respond back. 4 is not available. Can you do 6:30? Because it's booked all the way until 6:30. You go, oh, I can do 7. Sorry, it's booked from 7 to 9. So I need to know, where are you available, right? That's what you're ultimately trying to figure out with your client is, give me your availability today, tomorrow, whatever, because otherwise you're going to spend 15 minutes going back and forth and back and forth because you're looking at 4. Oh, it's booked at 4. It's available at 6:30. I can't do 6:30. Can you do 6:15? No, somebody's already got it until 6:30. Okay, well, it's just a headache. So
and you would go in Broker Bay for that.
Broker Bay is where that information is going to be, but you might start from Matrix. So you're going to go 2 directions. One, you're going to go to Matrix because you want to see. You're going to go on your phone or on the computer. You're going to go to Matrix because you're wanting to see, is there anything about this house I need to know? How many days has it been on the market? Because that's going to help you know what kind of speed we're dealing with here. If it's been on the market for 1, if it says 1, that means it came on today. which means you've probably got some time, but B, it also means don't take a buyer that needs closing cost help and can only afford barely the price of the house, because it's useless. There's no reason to take a $200,000 pre-approved buyer that's got no cash and needs closing cost help to a house that came on the market today that's in Greenwood and that's nice, because they're not even going to compete. If they can only offer a list price and they need to ask the seller for help, forget it. Not even worth it. You're going to do that a couple times just because you want to be nice and you want to be helpful, but you're going to be planting these seeds of, listen, we need to be looking at houses that are like 180, 185 when they come on the market, but these ones that are barely inside of our search criteria, our price range, we need to probably wait until they make it through the first weekend, because they're not going to sell it to you at asking price when they've got 75 showings and 50 offers. So is it possible? Yes. We can do story after story where we sell houses to people that are not the best buyer on the planet, but they're not looking at houses the first weekend they're on the market. At least not any good ones. They're waiting for the leftovers that still somehow fit their criteria specifically. So it's a tough conversation to have, but it's a good one to have. Otherwise, you're going to be running around writing 47 offers, never getting one. Yeah, you're just never going to get one, and you're in the midst of 50 other offers. It's just silly. So it might take 2 or 3 or 4 before they stop asking you to do that. But eventually, you put your foot down and say, "Listen, we've lost. They keep going for 40,000 over for 10 to 20% over asking, and people offering appraisal gaps bigger than your car's value. Like, we can't do this. There's no reason to do this."
Well, plus that's discouraging your buyer.
Yeah, let's just wait.
They're gonna want to give up.
Yeah, let's go. Don't hunt where there's no animals. Like, go hunting where there's animals. Like, that only makes sense. So don't fish in a pond with no fish in it. That's where we're at for the first weekend and a bad buyer, or a less than perfect buyer. Yeah. So you're looking at days on market. You're looking at, if you've got an FHA loan, you might be looking to see if it's capable to function inside of your loan criteria. You may be looking for an agent that you like. Eventually, you're going to start running into people you definitely know you want to work with, and other ones you're going, oh crap, I do not want to work with this person again. Yeah, Brad's already had one. He's only had 3 deals closed, and he's already got one. And he's going, please, Lord, never again.
I don't want to see that anymore.
It's just not worth it. You have to manage them like they're a child. So, and it's not bad if they're brand new. It makes all sense, right? You guys will need a lot of help, and the other agents will probably kick in. But boy, this has been around for like 40 years. You might be looking for agent-to-agent remarks. This is the secret section in Matrix that's going to be near the bottom of the listing. It's going to be at the bottom on your phone too. And that agent-to-agent remark is going to tell you interesting information, such as, yes, the listing is active, but we're not taking showings until Saturday, and it's currently Thursday.
I saw one of those yesterday.
So that helps you with your client, because now you can go, hey, they're not taking showings till Saturday. Give me your time frame on Saturday. Yeah. But let's go quick because it's going to fill up. So you look at agent, or it might say this property is being sold as is, which is colloquial for the seller is too lazy to do anything. That doesn't mean anything to us. There's no legal requirement. Just because you want to sell your house as is doesn't mean anything. You want me as the buyer to stand on my head for 10 minutes a day, for the rest of my life. Like, okay, we could agree to it or we could not agree to that, but it's up to that. But they're giving you good information. They're telling you, hey, if you're going to do an inspection, you may be wasting your time if you expect us to fix anything, and your money. So just be aware that this is being sold as is. It could say any number of things. It could tell you who to send the offer to, how to write the offer. Please give us 30 days post-closing possession for free, preferably. It could tell you anything. And it is frustrating as a listing agent. And, always blow everything up if you want to understand why people, for instance, why does an agent not answer his phone? Well, he just put a house live on the internet that's got 75 showings and 75 offers. And you want to call and ask, hey, so what really is important for your seller? Like, I do too, but when he doesn't answer the phone, it's not because he's a turd. It's because it's impossible to keep up with that. I mean, was it you that recently had? No, you had the one listing. One of our agents listed something, and then they called me going, oh, no, it wasn't our agent. It was my mentee, the guy I was helping. He listed a house, and he's like, because he used to be the guy that called every agent, every offer, wants to explain his offer. He's a really smart guy, really sharp guy, really diligent. Like, he's really good. And every time I just kind of smile, I said, man, sometimes I ain't gonna want to talk to you. And he's like, I know, I'll just text it if they don't answer. I'm like, great. He has a pretty good attitude about it. But he then finally listed one. And he listed a hot house, and he realizes like he can't even get 6 words out on a call to me to ask me a question that's important related to his listing. And he's got another phone call coming in, and he's got another text or another email from all these people wanting to show houses. His clients then going, oh no, they're overlapping. Is that okay? I mean, everything on the planet's blowing up for him. It's good, but too much of a good thing is still too much sometimes. So you'll understand that if you list a hot house, a 3-2 in Greenwood for $200,000, you're going to go, this is insane. Now I understand why this is difficult to be even a listing agent sometimes. So you're looking for anything in there that's going to help you help your client. We talked about the areas that you might want to look for. You might want to look at some pictures, but that's assuming you're not on 465 in your car, right?
True.
So let's say you looked at it because you could, or you didn't look at it because you couldn't. Okay, either way, you've done your best in that scenario. I'm on 465 driving, I can't look at it, or I'm at home drinking coffee at 7:30 in the morning, and I can look at it no problem. The next step, after we figured out when our client can go, and we might have already looked at Broker Bay, we might have already looked at the agent remarks, those sorts of things to say, hey client, when are we going to go? So now we've worked through the details of when our client's available, we have our own calendar, and we've got the information from the internet. Then we're just going to set up the showing. And primarily right now we're using Broker Bay. There's a blue icon underneath the picture when you're at the listing in Matrix. You click that, it's going to take you to that house, and then you're going to set up the showing for that house specifically. If you searched Main Street, and so now it shows you like 7 active homes on Main Street, and you find the one you want on Matrix, it's going to be to the right. If you're in the spot where it can show you multiple listings, it's going to be on the right, a big blue box with a white B in the middle. And if you're on your individual listing, it's going to be under the pictures. So it's either the right of the picture or under the picture. Now, if you are on your phone and maybe it's actually easier to just go straight to your Broker Bay app, it might be easier. You hit the little search button at the bottom of your Broker Bay app, 123 Main, type in the M, 123M, 123. It'll start to pop up houses. When it does that, that's when you can then click it and go on scheduling the showing. You can contact agents through there. With a phone call, it doesn't do messaging. It has a messenger built into it. I don't recommend you use that. Most of us do not need more ways for people to communicate with us. Right? Facebook Messenger and text and phone calls and emails and voicemails, all these things. Don't use the messaging feature, but definitely you can click the agent name and you can make a phone call or an email right from there. But most of the time, you're just going to be able to select the time frame, and it's going to either auto confirm it. Going to say, hey, there's going to be a couple different messages. It's going to be either your showing has been booked, and now you got to wait on confirm, decline, or a time change suggestion. Or it's going to say, if it's vacant, or maybe they left for the weekend and their agent set it up this way, it could be automatically confirmed. So you'll want to look at the little pop-up once you schedule it to see if it was booked, or we're waiting on confirmation, or if it was automatically confirmed by the system because they already knew they were going to be gone.
And in the new system now, they changed the lock, and we have download the app to take there.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of lock boxes, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So now you've got it scheduled, And but that's assuming you could look at your phone, right? You're driving on 465 at 80 miles an hour. No, what is it? 55 miles an hour. And yeah, hope no police are watching this. Do not look for a white Yaris on 465. Yeah. So you're going to get on, you can't look at your phone. You can't look at Matrix. You're going to be able to call a phone number. So my phone's there. Sorry about your luck. I'm going to give you a phone number. Feel free to write it down. I would share this with you, but I don't have my phone. The phone number for Broker Bay is 317-218-0600. 317-218-0600. And so that is the phone number you call.
There are only two companies now showing. One is showing and one is Broker Bay, or any other?
Technically, you could use anybody you want, but most companies do Broker Bay. Some will still use Showing Time.
Yeah.
And very few handle their own.
Right, yeah.
So sometimes you got to call the agent's office.
And they are from other states.
Sometimes they're from other Southern Indiana, or there's a few here that still handle their own, or at least did as of the last few years. Very few. I probably have called the office of a company 3 times in my career. Very few.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, why would you need to call them? Okay.
Yep, because they are not paying for a showing service. They want to manage their own. They're hyper nervous about security, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
But Broker Bay is going to be 98% of your showings, if not more. So you're going to call that number, and it's always annoying. They don't have really good system in place, in my opinion. Of how they figure out who you are and everything. But you're just going to, Eli Skinner here with Fathom Realty calling, so I want to set up a showing on my board number 1234567. And you're going to have to repeat it. They may say, what's the address? Quick tip. It is a whole lot harder to communicate an address than it is a 7-digit number. So you can do the address, 123 Main Street. But it's a whole lot easier when the name is 123697 West North South Street, Moultrie Drive, Greenwood. You're never gonna be, and then you add in like an accent, then there's no way I can't communicate it, you can't communicate it. So it's best if you can do numbers. Get the Matrix BLC number. There's going to be 6 to 8 digits or so.
Yeah.
Get that number and say, I got the listing number for you. Would that help? Yes. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Is that 123 Main Street? Yes.
So you're actually talking to a live person.
Talking to a live person. This is while I'm driving on 465. Wink, wink.
When I call on showing, they still show my old company name. So
do they?
Yeah.
Are you fully matriculated? Are you fully moved in? You're into MyBor.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Brent has moved you over in MyBor or not.
I don't know.
All right, make a note for yourself. I can help you check that later.
Okay.
Because I think MyBor connects to Broker Bay information, so there's a chance. There's a chance that there's something else wrong, but we can at least try to figure it out. So that's a good. So then you tell them what time you want to see it. Now, just remember this too about setting up the showing. Is when the listing goes live, and this is new because Broker Bay is new. Okay. When the listing goes live, it might take 30 minutes or an hour for it to get where you can schedule a showing. So if you or your client are really fast, you're going to go try to schedule a showing. It's not going to be in Broker Bay. And you're going to be like, it says it's in Broker Bay. You see the B, you know that it's in Broker Bay, but they haven't set it up properly, or it just hasn't made it there yet. Or maybe they just haven't hit the buttons quite right yet. But it could be either operator error on your part. Obviously, that's always possible. Could be operator error on their part as the listing agent or their office. It could be just a lag in internet mobility. Or it could be whatever else. I have no idea. But it will take some time. And I mean, I sat around for a couple hours one day not being able to schedule on 2 houses.
That's frustrating.
A lot of times I will hit the agent up.
One time I go to show the house, and they have 2 locks, one on the front door and one on the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I think he replaced the realtor. I think.
Yeah. Sometimes the rental companies will have one that they use when they were renting it and one then when they are showing it.
Right.
There's all kinds of, could be 2 or 3 different locks on a house. So in Broker Bay though, it should say where it is.
Yeah.
Use the one on the garage door, use the one on the front door, use the one on the hose bib or on the left side, use the one on the back door, use the one that's stuffed in the bush. I mean, whatever. It's in the mailbox.
So you would use, like, let's say because this has happened to us when we've looked at houses.
Yeah.
Where they can't get the lock open.
That happens. Yep.
You call Broker Bay.
You can call Broker Bay.
Or the agent.
Or MyBor or the agent. You just start calling everybody at that point.
Okay.
Start with the agent to make sure you've got a right code and say, hey, maybe something's wrong digitally. Can you give me a 1-day code?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I want to confirm the code on, because it may be a rotary code or some other code.
Okay.
With like the little wheels that you spin, or it could be
Yeah.
anything. Could be the digital ones, but you just want to start working your way through. You walk up to that lockbox and it's a master lock digital one. Make sure Bluetooth's on your phone. Make sure, that's why I want you to you've already done it. No, you've done it. I've done it. You make sure we go to these houses, like set up broker showing, just go look at some vacant homes and you're going to run into different types of lockboxes. So you've experienced it some. That's what people listening online do that. Like, it just makes so much more sense the first time you run into a lockbox you've never seen. If you've seen 10 other kinds, it's going to be a whole lot easier to figure out that 11th one.
Okay.
So they're going to be very easy. It's going to be the master lock right now is very common. And that's going to be straight in Broker Bay. There's going to be a spot. So you go to the showing in Broker Bay that you scheduled. There's going to be a spot that's down below the time and stuff. That's going to be its own little rectangle. It's going to talk about master lock. You're going to click that. It's going to be a new screen. It's going to pop up with a circle with a lock on it. And as long as you're close enough, it says poke the box. There's a little round circle on the box. You poke the circle on the box. And then you poke the circle on your phone. And Bluetooth communicates and it opens because you have approval to get there. That's master lock. It's very easy. You're going to have rotary ones where, somebody's got the code 1596 and you're going to spin the little dials and then you're going to pull down or you're going to flip a switch or you're going to slide a thing there's all kinds of ways to do them. Pretty much you can figure them out. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Then you've got some really funny ones, the old, I think they're called Supra boxes, and they look like your middle school locker, except for their letters instead of numbers.
I had one of those.
Those are a headache.
Those are terrible.
And you're gonna have these ones that are these poke buttons. You're gonna have all these different kinds, but most of them are easy. The middle school locker one is tough, just because it's been a long time since middle school.
Yeah.
So I would make sure
Right, all the way around.
you got it. And I have to try it a couple times if I don't see one for a year. But Google's really helpful there. And heck, sometimes the person with you is helpful. You can't tell them the code, but you can say, have you done one of these in a while? And you can say, hey, act like it's A, B, C, D, or ABC. Okay, do that for me. And you're like, oh, okay. Now you they got their middle schooler with them and they're like, oh, this is easy. So those are the lock boxes. If you can't get it open, call the agent, call Broker Bay, call MyBor, work your way through it. I mean, I've had agents have to drive over and let us in. I've had operator error. I've had digital errors. I've had wrong codes. I've had frozen. I've had dead. I mean, you're going to experience it all at some point. Just don't freak out. Blame it on the other agent. Not really.
I'm gonna dread that.
But you definitely, it's like there's literally nothing you can do. It's just unfortunate, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate when you're first showing with a brand new client from the internet.
I think a big company like Remax, they now have to download the app, then you can open this up.
Oh, they have their own app for it?
No, the regular app, but we have to take the app, then we can open it.
That's the master lock ones?
Master.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
but you're going to run into everything. Best practices, we're coming to an end here, actually, guys, about this part of it. But best practices so you can tell I've kind of got a narrative. We're doing a story here. We're now at the house. We've opened the lockbox. Now what? Well, you got to worry about a couple things. Security of the house.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to lock the door behind you? Do you not want to lock the door behind you? That's up to you. Right now, we're not locking a lot of doors behind us because there's 7 other agents going to walk in here in a second. But interestingly enough, what if you don't lock the door behind you? You're upstairs in the master bedroom and a neighbor decides they want to check out the house. And they see your car, they see a lockbox that's flipped open, and they see a key in the lock. So I can't tell you exactly what best practice is in every situation. I can tell you that a lot of times, most of the time, you're going to see when you walk up to a house that's got somebody in it, there's going to be the key in the lock, and the lockbox is open, and they're just inside. Because the moment you put a key in your pocket is the moment you leave with that key. Yeah. Do not put a key in your pocket. I've done it, and I had to drive 30 minutes back to a house because I had the key in my pocket. And I had botched up some other agent's schedule with his client because he opens the lockbox and there's no key. So you are going to do it. You're gonna mess this up. But just for your first little while, just be conscious. Like, okay, what neighborhood am I in? Does it seem like a brand new house? Showings are gonna be crazy. If so, I probably just leave the key in the door and just stay aware. Don't leave your clients in the house alone. In theory, for any point, have I ran to my car to grab a flashlight real quick? Yes, and I am saying this on video. It's called reality. Everybody does it. Should we do it? Probably not. And I tried not to. But what am I going to do? Like, hey guys, we're upstairs. I'm going to give you a flashlight so you can look in the attic like you want to. Yeah. What am I going to do? Everybody, please walk out to my car with me. Like, no, but I'm not going to go get Jimmy John's while they're in the house, right? I'm not going to go outside and take a phone call because you're worried about, because you've got a level of liability for, the jewelry in there, for the clothes in there, for the bourbon collection in there. You got to be, you don't know these people potentially. Right. And if you do, you think you know them. And I mean, you just don't want to get that phone call from an agent and it says, hey, my wife's grandma's wedding ring is missing. And it's not something that's in a different spot every time. That's never happened to me, but I've definitely gotten calls about stuff stolen, stuff moved, lights left on, mud on carpets. I mean, all this stuff happens all the time. So you're just, it's going to become more natural. You're going to have 100,000 things to think about during your first showings. And Brad's still probably, there's things he's learning every time and different things that you're just thinking, boy, that was dumb, or that was a good idea, or what should I do here? So lean into that. That's not a bad thing. Press into those questions. Make sure that you're paying attention and not leaving your people alone. Double check the doors. I mean, you locked that back slider, but just go ahead and double check it again.
And one is that whenever we have to do showing, we have to stay outside near the door, or we have to go with the customer.
Go with the customer. Yep. If I'm in a rough neighborhood, I'm going to lock the door behind me. I'm going to take the key with me. I'm going to lock the door behind me, and then we're going to go look at the house. If I'm in a really nice neighborhood, and not to say that neighborhoods necessarily matter, but I mean, generally speaking, they do. If I'm showing in my neighborhood, I'm going to leave the key in the lock. That's right, yeah. And I'm going to walk into the house with my clients. I'm going to be listening if I hear a door open. And I'm going to go check on it. Don't be shy. Hey, are you the agent? Cool. Do you have a business card? Not that somebody couldn't carry around a fake business card, but likely they're not going to have a fake real estate agent business card on them. Yeah. You'll see me walk into a house with other agents with my business card out. I'll just walk up to them and say, hey, I'm Eli. I'm the real estate agent. Just want to make sure you knew I was okay to be here. And they'll say, oh, don't worry about it, man. You're good. But, I mean, most thieves aren't going to walk up and do that, right? So I try to announce myself, hey, real estate agent coming in, welcome to the open house, whatever. You know, it's like not really an open house, but it sure feels like it when you're in there with 6 other people. But follow your clients around. You know, you'll learn about comfort. Like, do I go in the room with them? Do I stand out?
Yes.
They're going to be, everybody's different. You know, I'm looking. I am not just watching you look. I am actually looking too. Not because I care about the house, because I want to make sure you see the house. And if I see a water stain on the ceiling, I can't see that from the hallway. I can see that when I go in the room. So I am in the room with them. I mean, I'll walk into a bathroom and go, oops, hold on, let me get out of the way real quick so you guys can get in here. Absolutely. But definitely follow them around, because if the jewelry goes missing and you're like, oh, I was downstairs, like, not a good answer.
Right.
So anyway, that's the end of the video for today.
Stay behind, and when they go behind.
Yep. You can funnel in after they've looked at it. And try to keep everybody together. That's another good one. Like, kids shouldn't be in the basement playing ping pong while your parents are upstairs looking at the master bedroom.
So how do you address that?
You say, hey, let's try to all stay together here. You know, you're professional, fun personality, but say, hey, I know it's crazy. They're like 2 years old and a complete nut job, but let's try and keep them with us, just because I'd hate to have to answer questions about why there's poop in the master bedroom because they're running around, you know.
Yeah.
So just be overly cautious, which is not my style. I am not overly cautious. I'm like, whatever. I'm just having a blast. Like, let's just goof off. But I do have to be a little careful because it's other people's stuff. And you will get woke up. One day you're going to get a phone call and you're going to freak out because it could have been you and you don't know that it wasn't you because you weren't with your client like you should have been. And there's mud all over the carpet. And now you're thinking, did my clients have mud? Always go in first. Even if your client tries to walk around the house first. Hey, let's go inside first. One, because the outside doesn't matter if you hate the inside. But let's go inside first. And then we'll walk the outside after we've locked up.
Yeah. So
that we don't get any incidental dirt in the carpet. In, then out, then your car. So, all right, I'm going to shut this off.